My name is Patricia Obiero. I am the founder of Patricia Speaks, a platform that equips, empowers, and nurtures people to become better. I am passionate about purpose, leadership, and education, and my life mission statement is to equip, empower, and nurture people to realize their full potential and live out their dreams. And today, I'd like to one more time invite you to Patricia Speaks Show. So on this episode, I'm going to speak about another question that I have assiduously been asked. And that question is, are you walking in your purpose? Have you discovered your purpose? And my response to that question is yes. Though I have discovered my purpose and I am walking in my purpose in form of my life mission statement, because purpose is progressive. The more you walk in it, the more other things unfold and you get to know more about it over and over and over and over again. So if you watch a video that I had recorded a while back, and I was answering a question where someone had asked me, did you always know that you'd turn out to be a therapist? In that video, I spoke a little bit about my life, and I'll just tie it to this video of me walking into purpose. So probably before I begin, maybe I'd just like to define what purpose is, or some people would say vocation, and what career is. And there is one person that played a pivotal role in my walk of purpose that I'd like to mention. I think a quote or a statement that he liked mentioning most of the times. And this is none other than Dr. Miles Monroe. Dr. Miles Monroe says or said that your job is what you do between 8 to 5. Or what you do between 9 to 5, depending on your nature of job. And then your work is what you do from 5 p.m. all the way. So basically meaning your career is what puts food on your table. I mean, that's how you have to survive on this world. You have to do something to be able to survive. But your purpose is the greater vision, the reason as to why you are created, and it is a need, a God-given need that only you can fulfill in this world. Because the two of us might have the same purpose. Maybe it might look identical, but then how we work it out is extremely different. So your job is basically what puts food on your table. Purpose does put food on your table, but with time, because it is progressive. So in my journey, in the previous video, I had mentioned that when I completed high school, I went to Germany as an au pair maid, that is babysitting. And when I was there, when I came back home, I remember I locked myself in the room for 1 month, and I only had 3 things. Because I'm a Christian, I had my Bible, my notebook, and a book by Dr. Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life. And I began trying to find out my purpose at an early age. This was an urge. It was internal. It's not something that, was external. It's something that was nagging in me from inside. And I wanted to know, the 3 questions that are often asked: why am I here? Why was I created? What am I created for? So over and over again, I wanted to answer that question. And of course, it takes a while before you answer that question. So I remember for those 3 months, I locked myself in a room and I was just praying, reading the Bible and reading the book by Dr. Rick Warren, Purpose Driven Life. And in hindsight now, I also realized that I was depressed. But the only difference is that time I went down the rabbit hole with Jesus. I wasn't alone. I said, I'm going to pray all the way through my depression. Now, after 1 month, I came out of that room. And when I came out of that room, I was led to a church which then was called Purpose Center Church. Now it's called Rock Ministries. So I was led to go there through a friend of mine came. I remember they came home and I was talking to my friend and I asked him, so I'm looking for a church, where do you think I can go to? Or is there a church that I remember he said, there's a church across the road just here. And I think you'd fit in when you go in there. So just go and check it out. And I remember the first time I went to Purpose Center Church, I felt I was home, and I've never looked back since. I felt I was home. So the reason why I'm bringing up the issue of church is because every single person has a place where their purpose is often nurtured. So for some people, it's church. For some people, it's nightclubs. I mean, for musicians and maybe people who are creative and artistic. So every single person has a place where their purpose is nurtured until it becomes something that they can talk about. For me, it was in church. And that's why it's important to bring about this aspect of the church. And so while I was in church, remember the name of the church was Purpose Center Church, still is, but now Ruach Ministries. And when I was there and listening to every single thing, every sermon, and seeing the things that my pastor was doing and was saying, something was building up in me slowly without my knowledge. Now, while I was going to Purpose Center Church, I was also reading books by Dr. Miles Monroe. While I was reading books by Dr. Miles Monroe, I was also listening to T.D. Jakes, books about purpose, books about leadership, books about, getting out of your comfort zone. And at the same time, I was also listening to Joyce Meyer. I remember my sisters up to now, they still jokingly say, how do you listen to Joyce Meyer even for 3 days? And I tell them, because it's my path. That's the path that God chose for me. So those 3 people, they were very pivotal in my journey of purpose. So I'd read their books, I'd listen to their sermon over and over and over and over again. And then with time, there were very many word of knowledge that was spoken to me by my pastor, which is Julian Kula, over and over again about my life, what I would do. But at that point, I did not look like what was said. Remember in my previous video about did I always know if I would turn out to be a therapist, I had mentioned that I'm very reserved. And so I could not even speak to an audience of 1 then when this word of knowledge was coming and telling me the things that I'm likely going to do, And then I also remember in my journey of life, randomly I'd meet people and someone would tell me, I think you'll be this. I think you'll do that. I think you'll do that. You look like you do that. And every single thing that they said was just a confirmation of every single thing that I was being told. So I have a book where I write every single thing that I'm told, and I feel that, it resonates with my spirit. So I'd look at the book, sometimes pray over it. Some years I'd take it and throw it away because, this vision is too big and I don't think I'll be that person. But this is just my own fears. So I kept going to Purpose Center Church. The word of knowledge was released to me. I kept hearing confirmation from different other people about what I would be here and there, do this and that. And then now, fast forward to 2016. I think it was 2016. I became ill. I had a disc bulge. And I remember for a period of 3 months, I was unable to walk. My leg had gone numb from my feet going down. I was unable to walk. So I was seated in the house. And then remember in my previous video, I had mentioned that yes, I started off as a therapist and then I detoured at some point. I went into business and then I came back. So the time that I got a disc bulge and my legs from my knee down went numb, I was in business. So it meant that for 3 months, I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't travel for stock. I was just, confined in my house. I just had to stay there. And while I was staying there, again, it was another time for me to research, for me, to read the Bible because I'm a believer, and for me to just be taught. So it was just a moment of, me coming down. It's as if the world was stopping so that I can concentrate on the thing that I need to do. And I remember that time I listened to a sermon by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I remember he said that sometimes purpose comes calling and it knocks, and when it knocks, every other thing goes silent until you say yes to it. So for me, it knocked at that point. So I wasn't in business. And then my business also went down because now the lady that I had employed in the shop was stealing from me. So the business went down. At the same time, I was jilted. At the same time, in church, remember I had mentioned that when it comes to purpose, there has to be a place where your purpose is nurtured before you become the person that God wants you to become. So I was in the worship team. And then at that point, I'm being told, step down. I feel this urge within me, step down. I'm thinking, step down to go where? To do what? This is what I've known in church for the rest of my life. So if I'm stepping down to do what? So I didn't know. So every single thing just, it shut. And so I had to sit, I had to learn, I had to listen. It was as if I was being, it was a rebirth of me. So I went through that process, and I remember in I think that was 2015, then 2016 towards the tail end, I'm on Facebook. And I see a post by another clergy, but for the purpose of this, episode, I'm just going to call him Chris Atemo, but he's a clergy. So I see a post on his social media platform, and it's a school for leadership. And I'm looking at that post on Facebook, and something within me tells me, enroll. Remember, I'm down. Everything has stopped, and it has stopped in a way that, how we are, we introduce ourselves with either what we do or who we are. So when everything is taken away from you, you don't know how to introduce yourself. So I was literally empty. Even sometimes after the 3 months, when I was now able to walk, because I went through a theater procedure, but now when I was now able to walk, I hid from people, because how do I introduce myself? Everything has been taken away from me. I feel like there is something that is happening within me, but I cannot put it to words. So I see this post on Facebook, and then something tells me enroll for it. And then I call the number. When I call the number, the person that I'm talking to is another very, beautiful, intelligent lady called Jacinta. She's also clergy. And I'm talking to her, and I'm asking her, so what is this program all about? And I'm telling her, I do not want a program where I will remove my money and then I do not get, what I paid for. There's no return of what I paid for on my investment. And she said, it's very good. I told her, have you personally gone through it? And she took me through the modules, and she told me that she'd been through it. And so I was sold out. So then I enrolled for the leadership program. And I remember the first day when we met, and Chris Atemo asked, so why are you guys here? And every single person in class was saying why they're there, why they're there. And then when it got to my turn, I said, I don't know. And honestly speaking, I didn't. I said, I don't know. I felt I was led to come here. But to cut the long story short, that was part also of my discovery of purpose. So remember, I'm coming from Dr. Miles Monroe to TD Jakes to Joyce Meyer to Julian Keuler to now Chris Atemo. And so everything was just, everything was put together, and everything was designed together for me to be able to understand what my purpose is. So in that leadership class, that's when I drafted my life mission statement, which is to equip, empower, and nurture people to realize their full potential and live out their dreams. Now, the reason why I'm saying that I am walking into, that I am already in my purpose is because when you walk in purpose, there is so much fulfillment within you. So much fulfillment. You cannot compare it with your career, because by profession, I'm a therapist, I'm a life skills coach, I'm a trainer. But the purpose that I get when I do the things, the fulfillment that I get when I am walking into purpose cannot be compared with any other thing. And it is around equipping, empowering, and nurturing. So what purpose makes you do is that, it minimizes your engagement, so that you spend your energy on the most important things. For example, you will never find me spending time in anything that is not geared towards people, and it's not geared specifically towards equipping, empowering, and nurturing. And I do this through training. I do this through sharing advice or guidance. I do this through therapy. I do this through life coaching. I do this through many other things. But I am all about equipping, empowering, and nurturing. And it's all about people. So you wouldn't find me doing something that is out of that, because then it means that I would take my energy, I would take my time, and put it on something that would not give me fulfillment. And what happens with purpose is that it is that thing that you can even do pro bono. I'm not saying that now you run for pro bono services, but it is that thing that you can do even if you're not paid, because there's so much fulfillment after it. So yes, I am walking in my purpose. Now, the other thing about purpose also, remember I mentioned that I am passionate about purpose, leadership, and education. The other thing about purpose is that when you walk in your purpose, when you find your purpose, you become innovative. If you look at any person who is working in purpose, you'll find that they are founders or co-founders of different things. Because the moment you enter into purpose, ideas keep coming out. They keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming. So you don't only put your hands on one thing, you find yourself putting your hands on different things, but all these different things, they are under one pot. So basically, I would do different things, but they are under one pot of equipping, empowering, and nurturing people to realize their full potential and live out their dreams. And that is what purpose does. The moment you say yes to the first step of purpose, what it does is that it opens up other steps of purpose. You become innovative, you become creative, you become a founder, you can co-found with other people, you become better and better and better and better again. And also purpose comes with a lot of sacrifice and a lot of tears, because when you're walking in your purpose, there is always a stop. For every single person who is walking in purpose, there's always a defining moment, something that happens to you, and from that particular time you said that this is the way and this is what I'm going to do. Whether it brings money, whether it brings food on the table today or it doesn't, I'm going to keep working on this over and over again. So when I came into purpose, the other thing that was very important for me then was that I sharpened my leadership skills. That was very, very, very important. So that meant that I also sharpened my communication skills. I joined Toastmasters at some point just to work on my public speaking skills. I joined a leadership class just to become better in every single thing that I do, because again, when you walk in purpose, you become a leader without knowing. So you find that there are other leaders following you, or you find that you'd find people who are in a dilemma or who are conflicted in one way or the other, and they come to you for advice, they come to you for counsel, they come to you for guidance. So you always have to be ahead of the people who are looking up to you. That means that you have to be studious. That means that if it means that you have to research, you need to research. That means that you have to sharpen yourself so that you become better and better and better and better every other time. Now, my leadership skills, as much as I went to school, it was also sharpened at the same church, at the Purpose Center Church. And I remember at some point I was part of the committee of women, the women's ministry, and I was among the youngest people. And then there's a period that I think my leader and the assistant leader of the committee and myself, we found ourselves doing almost every other thing. Because if you're in a committee, sometimes you find that other people are engaged. So in the major events that we had in church, I found myself together with my leaders doing all the work. Basically, I would do every single thing that needed to be done. And what I didn't know is that I was working on my leadership skills. I was sharpening my leadership skills. So that was my training ground. And that happened not for 1 year, not for 2 years. That happened for a long period of time. Now, after that, I found myself in other leadership positions, probably when it's in school, in campus, or in a setup of women, in a setup of people, in social gatherings, I'd find myself in leadership roles. And so this was just me working on my leadership skills over and over and over and over again. And then in 2022, I got an opportunity to speak at Wild. That's women leaders, who are all about innovation and development. And Wild is a US-based organization. And speaking, before like 5,000 men and women, from 156 countries, for me it was something big. But that also was still geared toward me building on my leadership skills. So from purpose, then I needed now to build on my leadership skills. Now from building on my leadership skills, there's also audio education. So they go together. When you discover purpose, there's a lot of work that is needed to happen. And then from there, you find that you want to become better. So you want to enroll probably for a course that's going to make you a better person or a better version of yourself than you were before. So my journey of walking in purpose has been beautiful, but it's also been filled with a lot of tears. It's been filled with a lot of sacrifice. It's been filled with a lot of alone moments, but it is fulfilling. At the end of the day, there is so much fulfillment in it. And I'm curious, how about you? Are you walking in purpose? Have you discovered your purpose? Do you know what it is? Has this video helped you to at least have a vague idea of how your purpose looks like? Let's comment on there. Let's interact on the comment section, because I'd like to get to know more about you. And if you're not walking in purpose, feel free to reach out and I'll help you in the journey of you walking into purpose. Kindly like, subscribe, comment and share with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit the notification button so that you'll get notified when we have a new video on. Until next time, goodbye.